This daily exercise prevents heart attacks and lowers high blood pressure after 60. Let me speak to you from a place of years, from the quiet wisdom that only comes when you've walked through many seasons of life. When you've crossed 60, the world looks a little different. You notice things you once rushed past. You move slower, but not without purpose. You begin to realize that every breath, every heartbeat is more precious than the gold you once chased. And in those still moments of reflection, you also realize something else. That your heart, the faithful companion that has carried you through every joy and every sorrow, now asks you for care in return. We live in a time where people fear the suddenness of a heart attack more than almost anything else. You hear the stories, a neighbor seemingly fine the day before, suddenly gone without warning. A dear friend who always promised to take better care of himself but thought he had more time. And the truth is, after 60, the body becomes less forgiving. High blood pressure sneaks in quietly, often without a sound, and builds its walls around the heart. The arteries that once flowed easily become narrow. The simple act of climbing stairs leaves you breathless in ways it never used to. The world calls it aging, but I call it a choice. Because while we may not stop the years from passing, we can choose how we meet them. I want to share with you a simple, almost forgotten key to guarding your heart, one that doesn't require expensive pills, high-tech machines, or endless doctor visits. It's something you already know but perhaps have underestimated. And here is the truth. It's not complicated. It doesn't require youth or perfect health. You don't need to join a fancy gym or run marathons. The exercise I'm talking about is older than any of us, and it has been quietly saving lives for centuries. It's the kind of practice you can begin tomorrow, even today, and with each passing day, it gives your heart another reason to keep beating strong. I know what you may be thinking. At this age, change feels harder. Habits are stubborn, and the body resists anything new. But hear me clearly. Small, steady steps transform more lives than great leaps ever have. And when it comes to your heart, it is not about how fast you can go or how much you can lift. It is about showing up day after day in simple faithfulness. Every single person, no matter their age, carries the power to strengthen their heart with one daily practice. So many in our generation believe that health was something left to the doctors, that medicine alone would protect us. But I tell you this. The truest medicine often begins with your own 2 feet, with your willingness to honor the body God has given you. The elders of long-lived cultures did not rely on machines or laboratories. They walked. They moved. They breathed deeply. They lived connected to the rhythm of nature, and in doing so, they gave their hearts a gift we often neglect. Today, I invite you to remember that it's never too late. Whether you are 60, 70, or even beyond, your heart is listening. It is waiting for you to make a choice. Not tomorrow, not someday, but today. And the choice is simple: to rise, to move, to give your heart the care it has given you all your life. This daily exercise I am about to reveal is not just about avoiding heart attacks or lowering blood pressure. It's about reclaiming joy, energy, and freedom in the years that remain. Because in the end, life is not about how many days you live, but how alive you feel in those days. Your heart has carried you faithfully through storms and celebrations, through loss and laughter. Now it's your turn to carry it, to walk with it, to strengthen it, to honor it. And with every step you take, you are writing a promise into your future that your later years can be vibrant, peaceful, and full of breath. Are you ready to take that first step? Part 1. The heart. After 60, a friend worth protecting. When you pass 60, the heart becomes more than just an organ. It becomes a storyteller. Every beat carries with it the echoes of your life. It remembers the times you ran freely as a child, when your pulse raced from laughter or young love. It remembers the long nights of work, when you pushed through exhaustion, never asking it if it could keep up. It remembers the griefs, the losses, the moments you thought it might actually break. And yet here you are, still alive, still listening, still carried forward by this faithful companion. But after 60, the heart begins to whisper more clearly than it ever has. It tells you when you have burdened it with too much salt or sugar, when you've given it more stress than peace, when you've sat too long in one chair, or when you've forgotten the joy of simple movement. The truth is that aging itself is not the enemy. Neglect is. You see, your heart doesn't suddenly weaken one day out of nowhere. It changes slowly, and most of those changes are the result of years of choices. One of the biggest challenges after 60 is high blood pressure. Doctors call it the silent killer, because it often shows no symptoms until it has already caused damage. I call it the silent thief. It steals little things at first: your energy, your endurance, your peace of mind. And if you don't notice, it grows bolder, stealing your freedom, your independence, and finally, if left unchecked, your life. But the miracle of the human body is that even after 60, you still hold the power to reverse much of that damage. The heart is not a brittle stone. It is a living, adaptive muscle. It responds to care. It responds to movement. It responds to love. If you walk faithfully with it, it will walk faithfully with you. And in many ways, this stage of life is the most important time to do so. Because now you are no longer chasing the rush of youth. You are guarding the treasure of longevity. Think of your heart as an old friend. For decades, it has never once abandoned you. Even while you slept, it worked without complaint. Even when you abused it with poor food or restless nights, it forgave you and carried on. After 60, that old friend is tired. But like any friend, if you give it the care it deserves, it will surprise you with strength you didn't know it still had. Now here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Pills alone cannot save your heart. Yes, they help, and yes, sometimes they are necessary, but medicine is only one part of the answer. The greater part is found in the choices you make each day. The elders in villages that live long, healthy lives, whether in Okinawa, in the hills of Sardinia, or in quiet farming communities, do not survive on medicine cabinets. They survive because their daily lives are a rhythm of movement, balance, and peace. And the same can be true for you, no matter where you live. Your heart, after 60, is like a garden. If you let weeds of stress, inactivity, and poor food grow, the garden will choke. But if you water it, tend it, and give it sunlight, it will bloom. This is the wisdom I wish someone had told me when I was younger, that your heart is not just meant to survive, it is meant to thrive, even in your later years. So listen to its whispers. When you feel the shortness of breath, the quickened pulse, the heaviness in your chest, don't dismiss it as just aging. That's your heart speaking. It's asking you for partnership. And if you answer it with patience, with daily care, and with the simple exercise I will reveal, you will find that your later years can carry more vitality than you ever thought possible. Part 2. The silent dangers. Why heart attacks sneak up on us. Here's what makes heart attacks so terrifying. They rarely announce themselves with fireworks. They creep in slowly, quietly, like a thief in the night. You can feel fine for years, even decades, and then one day everything changes in a single heartbeat. That's why so many people say, "I never saw it coming." But the truth is, the signs were often there all along. They just weren't listened to. High blood pressure is one of the greatest silent dangers. You don't feel it rising. You don't feel the arteries slowly hardening. But meanwhile, your heart is straining every day, like a worker asked to carry too heavy a load for too long. Eventually, even the strongest worker collapses. And yet, this collapse is not fate. It is preventable. Think about how much of our modern life encourages sitting. We sit at desks, sit in cars, sit in front of televisions. Hours pass, sometimes whole days, without meaningful movement. And the body, which was designed for walking, for lifting, for bending, begins to stiffen. The blood slows, the pressure builds, the heart becomes trapped in a cycle of strain. Many elders live this way without realizing they are slowly building the very conditions that will steal their lives. I have seen friends who brushed off warning signs. A little chest tightness dismissed as indigestion. A spell of dizziness excused as fatigue. a pounding heartbeat put aside as just stress. Weeks later, the ambulance sirens told the truth. But wisdom is not only about looking back, it is about using these lessons so that others don't repeat the same mistakes. There is another danger: stress. We think of stress as only in the mind, but in truth, it is one of the most destructive forces against the heart. Every argument, every sleepless night, every anxious thought presses on the heart like an invisible hand, and the longer it stays, the more damage it does. After 60, the heart does not bounce back from stress as quickly as it once did. That is why peace, gratitude, and forgiveness are as much medicine for your heart as any pill. The greatest danger of all is believing that nothing can be done. Too many people shrug their shoulders and say, "Well, I'm old now, what's the point?" That belief kills more people than heart disease itself. Because the moment you surrender, the moment you stop believing change is possible, you close the door to healing. But let me tell you this: you are never too old to give your heart a new beginning. A heart attack may be silent in its approach, but your actions can be loud in prevention. Every step you take, every breath you choose to deepen, every moment of peace you claim is a declaration against that silent thief. And in the next part, we will talk about the daily exercise, so simple, so natural, that can guard your heart better than you ever imagined. Part 3. The daily exercise that saves lives. Here is the moment you have been waiting for. The daily exercise that prevents heart attacks, lowers high blood pressure, and restores strength to a heart that has carried you for more than 60 years is not something complicated. It is not something reserved for athletes or the young. It is walking. Yes, simple, steady, faithful walking. Now before you sigh and think, "That's too simple," let me remind you, sometimes the simplest things in life are the most powerful. A glass of water to quench thirst, a kind word to heal anger, and walking to protect the heart. The beauty of walking is that it requires no equipment, no training, no special place. You can begin the moment you decide, whether that's around your home, in a park, down a quiet street, or even through the halls of your house. Walking is nature's prescription. When you walk, your heart beats more steadily, your blood flows more freely. The stiffness in your arteries begins to ease. Your blood pressure, which may have crept upward for years, starts to come down like a river finally flowing into open space. Walking strengthens the heart muscle itself, teaching it endurance and resilience. Doctors across the world confirm what ancient wisdom already knew. 30 minutes of walking a day can reduce the risk of heart attacks, strokes, and high blood pressure more effectively than any miracle drug. I've seen it with my own eyes. A neighbor, once overweight and breathless after climbing a single flight of stairs, decided at 68 to walk every morning. At first, it was just to the mailbox and back, then down the street, then around the block. Within months, his blood pressure numbers fell, his cholesterol improved, and most of all, his face lit with a joy he hadn't known in years. He didn't join a gym, didn't lift heavy weights, didn't buy any supplements. He just walked. And in walking, he walked away from death's doorstep. Another dear friend, a grandmother who always put her family's needs before her own, finally chose to take her health seriously after her doctor warned her of dangerously high blood pressure. She began walking with her granddaughter each evening after dinner. At first, they both struggled, but soon those walks became their sacred time for laughter, stories, and fresh air. Within a year, her doctor marveled at the transformation. "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it," he said. She simply smiled and said, "I'm just walking." Walking is not about speed. You don't need to move like a runner. What matters is consistency. A daily walk, even if it's only 15 to 30 minutes, tells your heart, "I have not forgotten you. I am here, moving with you, giving you strength." And in return, your heart answers with health, energy, and life. But walking is not just physical, it is spiritual. With each step, you breathe deeper. You notice the world around you, the rustle of leaves, the warmth of sunlight, the laughter of children. You reconnect with life, and in doing so, stress melts away. Walking becomes not just exercise, but meditation, a prayer in motion, a reminder that you are still alive, still moving forward, one step at a time. So don't underestimate this gift. The same simple act your parents and grandparents did daily is waiting to restore your heart today. No matter your age, no matter your condition, you can begin walking. And with each step, you are writing a different ending for your story, one filled with more years, more strength, and more joy. Part 4. How to Walk for a Strong Heart. After 60. Now that you know walking is the exercise that saves lives, let me guide you gently into how to walk in a way that truly nourishes your heart. Walking may seem natural, but after 60, it's important to walk wisely, so your steps give the maximum gift to your health. First, think about timing. Some people prefer walking in the morning when the air is fresh and the mind is clear. Morning walks wake up the heart and prepare you for the day ahead. Others find evenings more peaceful when the sun is low and the world slows down. The truth is, the best time is the time you will keep. Choose a rhythm that fits your life, not someone else's. Consistency is more powerful than perfection. Second, consider duration. If you are new to walking, begin small. 5 minutes today, 10 minutes tomorrow. Build slowly, and before long, 30 minutes will feel natural. The goal is not to exhaust yourself, but to strengthen yourself. Doctors suggest aiming for 150 minutes of walking per week. That's just 30 minutes, 5 days out of 7. Think of it as a gift you give your heart, a daily appointment you never miss. Third, pay attention to pace. You don't need to march like a soldier. Walk at a pace where you can still hold a conversation, but feel your heart working a little harder. If you find yourself gasping, slow down. If you can sing without effort, speed up slightly. Your body will tell you the right balance if you listen. Posture matters too. Stand tall, lift your head, roll your shoulders back, and let your arms swing naturally at your sides. Each step should feel like a gentle rhythm, not a forced struggle. Breathe deeply as you move, inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your mouth. Let your breath guide your steps like music for your heart. And here is a secret: make walking joyful. Too many people treat exercise like punishment, but walking is meant to be a blessing. Walk where you feel peace, through a park, along a quiet street, even inside a shopping mall if weather doesn't allow. Walk with a friend, a spouse, or even your grandchildren. Walk with music or in silence, listening to your thoughts. When walking becomes something you love, you will never stop. Finally, treat walking as more than movement. Treat it as meditation. With each step, release stress. With each breath, give thanks for the life still within you. If you are a person of faith, turn your walk into prayer. If you are a lover of nature, let the beauty around you remind you of life's gifts. This way, walking heals not only your body but your soul. The key is not to do everything at once, but to do something every day. Small steps, faithfully taken, will carry you further than you ever imagined. And in those steps you will discover strength you thought was lost, energy you thought was gone, and peace you thought could never return. Part 5. Beyond Walking. Little daily choices that protect your heart. Walking is the foundation, the cornerstone of keeping your heart alive and strong after 60. But life is not built on one stone alone. It is built on many. Alongside your daily walk, there are other small, daily choices that can protect your heart. Choices that may seem ordinary, but, taken together, form a shield against illness and decline. Let us begin with food. You have heard the old saying, "We are what we eat." After 60, this truth becomes sharper than ever. Every bite you take can either nourish your heart or burden it. Heavy, greasy, salty foods weigh down the arteries like stones in a riverbed, narrowing the flow of life-giving blood. But fresh fruits, leafy greens, whole grains, beans, fish, and a drizzle of olive oil are like sunlight and rain to a garden. They keep the heart vibrant. Look to the wisdom of long-lived cultures. The people of Okinawa eat vegetables, tofu, and fish. The elders of the Mediterranean savor olives, beans, and wine in moderation. They eat simply, close to the earth, and they eat until they are satisfied, not stuffed. Then there is stress. Perhaps you have noticed how an angry moment can make your heart pound, or how an anxious night can leave you drained the next morning. Stress is not just a feeling, it is a physical force. It tightens arteries, raises blood pressure, and taxes the heart. After 60, peace of mind is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Practice forgiveness, not only toward others, but toward yourself. Release grudges that serve no purpose. Embrace gratitude. Each day, name a few blessings aloud. Gratitude softens the heart, lowers stress, and opens you to joy. Rest is another protector. Sleep is not wasted time, it is repair time. In sleep, the heart slows, the body heals, the mind resets. Without rest, the heart is like a worker never allowed to sit down. Aim for steady, gentle sleep. And if your nights are restless, give yourself time to nap during the day. The body is wise. It knows when to heal if you allow it. Do not underestimate laughter. It may seem too light to be medicine, but laughter lowers stress hormones, improves circulation, and lifts the spirit. A heart that beats with joy beats longer. Surround yourself with people who make you laugh. Watch something that brings you delight. Laugh often. It is exercise for the soul. And finally, connection. Loneliness is a silent danger, as harmful to the heart as smoking. People are not meant to live alone in silence. After 60, some friends pass away, children move far, and the home grows quieter. But you must not let yourself drift into isolation. Reach out, call a friend, join a walking group, visit a neighbor, worship with others. Every smile you give and receive strengthens your heart. Connection is medicine. Together, these little daily choices, walking, eating wisely, resting deeply, managing stress, laughing freely, and staying connected, form a circle of protection around your heart. None of them requires wealth or youth, only willingness. And with each day you practice them, you are not merely adding years to your life, you are adding life to your years. Conclusion. Let me close with this. Your heart has been your most faithful companion. From the first moment you opened your eyes as a newborn, it has never stopped, not once. Through decades of joy and sorrow, it has beaten without asking for thanks. Now, after 60, it asks only for a little care in return. We live in a world that teaches us to fear age, to believe that once the hair turns gray and the body slows, life is nearly over. But I tell you that is a lie. Age is not the end, it is the harvest. These are the years when wisdom blossoms, when every step carries the weight of stories, when laughter rings deeper because it comes from a place of knowing. The heart, even at 60, 70, 80, can be stronger than ever if you choose to honor it. Walking is your daily gift. Each step whispers, I choose life. Each breath on the open road says, I am still here. Walking lowers your blood pressure, strengthens your arteries, clears your mind, and calms your spirit. It is the simplest, truest way to guard against the silent thief of heart disease. And when you combine walking with wise food, peaceful rest, gratitude, laughter, and connection, you give your heart the very best chance not just to survive, but to thrive. Do not wait for tomorrow. Do not think it is too late. Begin today. Take one step, then another. Let the rhythm of your feet remind you that you are still alive, still capable, still strong. Remember, every step you take is not only a promise to your heart, it is a promise to your family, your friends, and your future. When people ask you, what is your secret to health after 60? Smile and tell them the truth. I walk, I laugh, I love, and in doing so, I live. Your heart has carried you this far. Now it is time to carry your heart.